Hey y'all, my name is Anwar. I'm one of the APDs in the Department of Emergency Medicine at Emory. I am happy to welcome you guys to academic year 2019 with this brief introduction to attendance, this thing called Arkaive, and you. Although most of what you do has to relate to patient care, we also run an educational program, and we are responsible for making sure that you guys have everything you need to be able to sit for the boards of emergency medicine when you finish. So this is kind of a primer so that you could speak the language when you have questions about it later and kind of get you started and comfortable with a lot of the ways that we track your attendance at these mandatory sessions over the next year. So the first thing you need to know is that going to some kind of lecture is mandatory. It's not something we get around. We didn't just make it up here at Emory, and it's an ACGME requirement. I'm going to assume that you know what ACGME stands for, but like it or not, they make the rules for how we conduct an education program here at Emory and wherever you go. The first thing you need to understand is that we, again, are required to have some sort of lecture education component to our residency program. And basically, this algorithm sets up how it is done. So, there's 240 hours of available emergency medicine lectures. And if you went to all 240 hours of lectures, that would be 100%, but we require you to go to 75% of the lectures. So if you are excused from a lecture, that excuse comes out of the denominator, and that makes it to where you don't have to go to as many lectures to get to the 75%. So your didactic time is actually divided into a couple of things. This didactic lecture time is typically what you would have where you sit in a lecture and somebody does a PowerPoint. Now, Dr. Taylor is working hard on getting our program away from this sort of kind of lame lecture setup, but it's also an ACGME requirement that 1/5 of what you have in lecture is triple I. So triple I is a word we use that actually means individualized interactive instruction. Some places would call that asynchronous learning. Here, we call it triple I. Same sort of thing, it's a requirement. The most amount of time that you can have in triple I is 48 hours. So 48 hours of that plus 192 other hours would make for 240 hours of total compliance. I think that math is right. Anyway, the didactic lecture plus the triple I divided by your 240 minus your excused absences needs to be above 75% in order for you to be compliant for the entire year. How do we track attendance? Attendance can be tracked in one of multiple ways. The story of how we got to this point in attendance is very long and circuitous and boring. I wanted to make this not very boring. But we have started using this program called Arkaive. It's free to you and is essentially free to the faculty. What it is a GPS geolocation attendance tracking system. We used to sit in the back of the class and kind of look at people's heads and put that information down for attendance, but that had a high level of dissatisfaction. Arkaive allows you, the learner, to have an app on your phone, and you are responsible for checking into lecture, and you can look at your own attendance in real time. This brings us to how Arkaive works. As you can see here on the right side of your screen, this is a screenshot of my phone. I know it's obnoxious that I have a lot of apps, and I'm sorry about that. But what you see is Arkaive exists both on the iOS store and in the Google Play Store. If you really have a problem with it, let me know. When you first install it, please allow it to use your location because it's necessary to say that you were in attendance. And please allow it to send you notifications. On most phones with the latest operating system, the notification will come up when you are in the building and it's time to log in the class. So let's pretend you're a little bit more organized than me and have a phone that doesn't have 4 pages of apps. You select the Arkaive app and you log in. Typically, you'll probably stay logged in from week to week because it's your phone. But I have a fake ID that I am using here, and let's just look at how to add a course. So if you have no courses selected, this is what the screen looks like. Select add a course. Each course has a 4-letter code for enrollment that you'll only have to use one time. LWSN is for the 52 and 52 class that occurs at Steiner. You add this course and you'll see that it's been successfully added. This course will run for the remainder of the academic year. When you are in the building during the time of the course, you will be able to check in. It's as simple as that. So again, just for additional clarity, this 240 hours of lecture time that's possible is divided into lecture time that is traditionally seen as like sitting down in a lecture hall. Then there's the ongoing III also, like 52 and 52, which is a lecture series put on by residents and journal club. And then there's this one-off kind of III events. Say, for instance, you go to SAEM and present something and discuss it with the faculty, or you put on a workshop with one of the other faculty for community CPR or something like that. These are one-time sort of events that you might do. Those one-time events are tracked just a little bit differently. So Arkaive, again, will be used for more of your ongoing events, but these one-off events are to be put into an asynchronous learning log. Now this one here is a screenshot from 2017 to 2018. The link to this will be on a frequently asked questions sheet that you'll get in your email. So please check your email. Now, this part is extremely important. You probably hadn't been paying attention up to this point, but if by chance you can pay attention to just this one small thing, it's this. New Innovations is what we use to manage the entire residency in terms of educational requirements. It's a big company and all of the residencies at Emory use it a lot. And so it's going to be hard for us to get out of a situation where we use New Innovations. Now, again, it's not the most optimal thing for things like attendance. It is a pretty good thing for things like your course evaluations or your individual reviews and things like that. However, over time, we've evolved to say that it's not adequate for our needs at this point. They might change things in the future. Until then, we have Arkaive. Arkaive does not talk to New Innovations. There's no way that you put your stuff in and then it's in New Innovations the next day. It doesn't work like that. Please don't ask me. What we are telling you is that 4 times a year, on September 1st, December 1st, March 1st, and June 15th, we will by hand update New Innovations to reflect your current comprehensive attendance up to that date. Between then, you will have one source which you were in full control over, which is the Arkaive, and you will have potentially put things into the asynchronous log that we showed just a second ago on that last slide. Between those two, that is what your attendance is. Simple as that. And we'll put it into New Innovations these 4 times a year. It's not possible in terms of manpower to both use the Arkaive and keep it live updated. Otherwise, we would do it. But this is our solution for now. We think that it gives you control as a learner over your individual participation in lecture activities. To wrap up, what you're going to get in your email is a FAQ, or frequently asked questions sheet, on III that will contain links to the things that you can do for III that are already pre-approved, and it will contain a link to the log that you saw a couple of slides ago. And in your email, separately, you'll get a list of courses that you need to register for on Arkaive. If you're not registered, then you're not going to be able to put yourself in as present. The learning curve, I think, is pretty small. The most arduous thing about all of Arkaive is making sure that you log in repeatedly for each hour. Now, it might seem obnoxious, but let's say you feel awake after you work a night shift and you want to go to a lecture, you can go to get credit for that one lecture and then you can leave. You don't have to stay for the whole 4 hours. So it's probably in your best interest that you log in on an hourly basis anyway. So again, thank you for listening up to this point. Check your email and or email me at adosbor@emory.edu. Please don't ask me anything obnoxious. Please don't ask me to update your III the day before your meeting that happens to be after June 15th, because that will be very frustrating. And if I did that for all 60 residents, I wouldn't be able to do anything like take care of patients or take showers and things like that. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in real time. And again, check your email, and I hope you guys do great during your academic year 2019.